Hello and welcome back. As you can see from the earlier footage there, I've made some modifications to the baseboard, and quite a lot of time has elapsed again since the last video I've made, so everything's gone away. It's been quite a feat getting everything tidied away again, and some of the more relevant things I want to play with have been brought so they're easier to get hold of. So I've definitely got some Hornby Dublo items to be fiddling with. So we've got some items in here. Got a turntable. If you look at one of the earlier videos, I've got some of these items in out on the layout a long time ago, and I've added to my Dublo collection since. It's got to be getting on for over 10 years since I've really played with any of the Hornby Dublo, so really very much looking forward to that. Things like catenary and Super 4 track have all sort of been pushed back for a little bit into the sort of the back of the storage area. And I've got some Series 3 out. So initially I had planned to do a layout with Series 3 on the last baseboard before it came down, but it was in such poor condition I decided to skip that completely. I've got a plan, well, a rough plan of what I was going to do. We'll have a look when we jump the other side. So I've got some Series 3 track which has been prepared in the past. Got this out and down, and some Dublo 3-rail track down there, which is an absolute joy to use, and really nice. This model we saw running, I don't know, back in the lockdowns over a year ago or so that was serviced just back then. That's out of the box. It runs reasonably well. I haven't given it another going over, so we'll jump the other side and we'll have a quick look at how things are running. Now, I think she runs quite well for having sat in the box for just over a year, I think it is. I can't remember the exact date. I'll leave a link in the video to the earlier video in the description box below, so you can have a look at this running. I had this running down on the carpet in the living room. Possibly one of the last videos I made in the living room. So one of the provisos for me taking over this room was I stopped playing with the railway in the rest of the house, otherwise it's just going to spread. So let's give that one more go. I'll flip the camera around, see if we can get in a bit tighter. I can't remember the model numbers for this. I do have the box for this Dublo model, so most of my Dublo stuff wrong direction, doesn't have its boxes, and some is definitely in the wrong box. So I haven't got a handheld here, so that's going to run out of shot. And then let's bring that back in again. There we go. I'll just flip the camera around again. We'll just pick up the model, have a quick look over it. As I say, if you want to look at it in more detail, have a look at the earlier video. I think we definitely had a good look over it then. It's a fairly nice condition. As I say, it was serviced about a year ago. seen plenty of action in its previous life if we look at the pickups there. So we'll just pop that down. There we go. Let's see if we can put that back on the track. They're lovely and heavy, these Dublo models. So let's have a look. Let's change the power over, and we'll get. Here we go. It's not very scientific, that, but let's get that on the go. So the chassis in this shunter is one that I've used for track cleaning and fiddling with the 01 chips, and it's a fairly good one. And that definitely has been serviced recently, because when I took the 01 chip out of it, and I think I've got it magnetised the wrong way around, or the wires the wrong way around, because it runs the wrong way on the controller. It's missing its steps. Long running model, originally coming along in black, these, and they were green and then blue. I think it changed back to green in the 70s, but it was a different chassis. Can't remember the model number on that. Let's see if we can follow that one along a little bit. Again, that's going out of shot now, not out of shot, but as far as I can reach whilst using the controls. And we'll bring that back in again. Just before we get off the end of the track there, you can hear that clipper controller dropping onto the 0. Let's just run that backwards there. Has a lovely clunk as it comes back on and off the control section. So let's just have a glance at this. So all a bit of a mess here. That's the box for that little tank locomotive, the Hornby Dublo one. Lovely thing, had that a long time. One of the first Hornby Dublo items I had. Got it from the local model railway shop. So it's got part of its packaging there. I think there's something probably missing from the inside of the box now. I couldn't resist having a go with this. I picked that up from Elaine at the Doncaster show in the video we saw back in, I think that's February. Obviously haven't had a chance to run it apart from on the little bit of test track back here. But I've given the motor a little bit of a clean and tidied up the wheels. Let's just have a glance at this. So this track plan here is roughly the Hornby Dublo layout I had. It's got to be over 10 years, I think, or 10-ish years. I had this when my son was very interested in trains. We played for ages with this. And I think my layout differed slightly because this was supposed to fit on an 8x4 from what I remember. But I could never get it. It was just too tight across the board. So this siding didn't exist. And I don't think I had the station buildings that I have now when this was down. The only pictures I found without any buildings on it. I think possibly I had an engine shed, but I don't remember any stations. And this line here, instead of coming to an end there, I did have it joined in here. So there was a join up there, I seem to remember. And I had the operating mail apparatus on this outside piece of track here. So it was a great deal of fun. My son, when he was very, very small, or about 7 or 8 years old, had a great deal of fun with this. And one memorable time I had the Duchess of Montrose coming along here, came to a sudden halt. I think the pickup shoe had caught on something, came to a sudden halt, stopped, and the whole thing toppled onto the floor. An amazing moment, but a little bit of a push back into place with a couple of bits, and it ran really nicely. So great looking model as well, very played with it. Perhaps we'll have a look at that later. Now, the baseboard that I dismantled a couple of years ago, it had always been my plan to make this layout, which was an adaptation with Series 3 as a trade layout. Let's turn that the other way up. So obviously I don't have the board shaped like this, but this was for an 8x4 and I'd stretched it. This is the stretched version to go on a 5x10, which is the board I dismantled but the board was just so warped, and it wasn't worth really persisting with it, which is why I never did do that. But I have all of the parts to do that, plus extra. So there's a temptation to be doing something with that, and possibly doing something with a Hornby Dublo, possibly combined. But I realised last time everybody was very, very concerned that I did something different than I'd been talking about. So I'm going to leave it completely open. I'm not sure what we're going to do, but I'm just going to be playing with some of the items I have for quite some time, I think. Yeah, that's one of the I think that's the track plan that Triangle Railways put out at the time. I think this was a trade layout, and this is a list of components. You can see there I've been writing down there as I've been collecting parts. But I think the list of components in there goes right down to things like telegraph poles, and I've seen other pictures of this where it's populated with a number of other items. So you've got buffers and all sorts of stuff. So great looking things. There's a whole bunch of other ones here. I can't remember the website where I pinched these from, shall we say. So, but they're great looking things. A mixture of standard track and Series 3. I do have quite a bit of standard track, but sadly I've been on the lookout for bits for years now which are usable. There's so few pieces which I haven't shrunk. But we'll perhaps have a look at a few pieces of that the other day. It had been my intention to find enough to try and make the elevated section like this. But whilst I have got enough to make this layout, it would be in Series 3. I'd have found a reasonable amount of straights which I haven't warped, and a reasonable amount of large radius curves which haven't warped, but small radius I'm struggling on finding. But anyway, that's enough wittering about that. Let's put that down. So I'm trying to just have some fun with some of the items here, some of the items that have been collected in the previous years. This box of tracks quite interesting as well. So these are unprepared pieces. So these are just as this box came to me. So various conditions of definitely seen some action. So you've got an uncoupler here, but short radius, small radius. Sorry, not short radius. Handful of points, but I do have some other bits and pieces. So I think what we'll do, we'll get that single-ended diesel on here, and we'll have a go with that. Let's see if we can pop that down here and get that out of the box. There we go. If I put it on that way around, we'll be able to see the headlamp. So get that on the track. We should put the dummy unit on too, I think. Let's see if we can grab the dummy out of the box here. If you want a closer look at these, perhaps I'll also leave the link to the earlier video where I visited the Doncaster show and collected these from Elaine much earlier in the year. I'm sure that was February. It rings a bell as being February. Right, let's give it some power. Let's turn the camera around, see if I can come it down a little bit lower. And perhaps we'll just by hand move that tank locomotive out of the way. So let's give that a little power now. And then we'll bring that back in towards camera again. That headlamp just glowing there. Lovely whine from the wheels. Oops, almost went off the rails there. Let's see if we can back that up. So that has the ribbed wheels, or serrated wheels, some people call them. Let's just bring that to a stop. Let's just unhook that again. amazing. When you want these things to stay coupled, they don't, and when you want to pull them apart, they're intent on staying hooked up. Let's have a quick look at the underneath of that. There you can see those ribbed type wheels there, or knurled wheels. So I'm never sure whether these were put into create a diesel sound or create grip, but I think whatever they do there, they definitely eat through the original plating on the track quite rapidly, I imagine. Definitely with some wheel spin there. So let's pop that down. So there was a version of this model later on which had an extra motor in it to create diesel sound in the early 60s. I'll stick an insert picture in the corner there, but we'll have a look at that one running on another day. So we'll pop that down there. Let's see if we can get one more Dublo model out. I'm just going to rotate the camera and let's pop this tank locomotive back over here on the bench. And let's see if we can extract something else. So yeah, I've got this straight track's a recent acquisition. It's going to take some a little bit of cleaning up. You can see. Let's see if I can grab a few pieces that's got fluff and dust, insects. So they're stuck together. Let's put that down. Let's see the sort of condition that's in. So I do have a few pieces which have never been used in a box. So maybe we'll have a look at those ones, but they're buried a long way down. So I think there's slightly different variations in this track that was made over a long period of time. But it's yeah. So it doesn't sound terribly smooth, does it? So we'll pop those ones back. Stick them in there. So what else do we have? I have some. What I didn't have when I had the original layout down was some of these items. So we've got electrically operated points. So they came along after I'd boxed it all up. So some more interesting. There's a re-railer there, quite a nice item. So very, very heavy. Let's put that on there. So that would go on a track like that. And you run your locomotive on there. Perhaps we'll just leave that out and we'll have a go with that. I don't know whether there's a catalogue number for that. I'm very unfamiliar with Hornby Dublo catalogue numbers. There's some information. A railer, not a re-railer, perhaps. There we go. Made in England, Meccano Limited. Hornby Dublo. Let's pop that on there. So I think if we just break open this box here, I've got the Duchess in a homemade box. I might have to cut away to get this out, but during the lockdowns, all of my Hornby Dublo models I did service. I had them out on the bench. So, like the little tank locomotive there, I'm suspecting she'll probably run. Definitely had a long life, this model. So I picked this up at a model railway show a long time ago in Shildon, back when they had those regular things going on down there. Sadly, they don't have those anymore. So let's have a quick look over that. Yeah, so one of those things that entertained me during lockdown was going through these items and just getting them all running. Until that point, none of them had been used for quite some time. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. There we go. Let's just pop her down there and have a quick look over. See, in fairly good condition, used, but definitely everything where it needs to be as I remember it. Yeah, when it tumbled off the bench and my son and I were playing with it, it had a bit of a bent smoke deflector on it. So we just bent it back into position. Let's pop that on there and see if we can roll that onto the tracks. So it might be a bit sort of spluttery to start with, maybe a bit sparky, but let's see how it does. pop this box to one side. Get the railer to one side. We've got to change the power supply over as well. Let's see if I can do that one-handed, not pointing in the right direction. No power on there, yeah. Let's see if I can get that on there. And that one on there. There we have it. Let's give that some power and see if she'll jump into life. Makes just such a wonderful sound, these items. Let me flip the camera around. See, she's definitely got some battle scars on there. Again, I'm unfamiliar with the model numbers. Did I look something up and write it on the box? Let's have a quick look. There, it could be wrong. My interpretation of the book of Hornby Dublo items I've got is quite poor. So EDL 12, or possibly in brackets there, it's got 3212. Quite a long-running model, I believe. Possibly some cover to a number of years, available in a glossy finish as well as a matte, I think. Let's see if we can get that to run backwards. I'm going to run out of reach here, so we'll just send her off into the distance and see if she'll charge back towards us. There we go. So I think that's probably it for this week. If you look back again next time, we'll see if we can get a little more track down and have a little bit more fun with a few items. We'll just bring that back one more time. Thanks again. Goodbye now.